favorite tool in the self-directed world is called a Roth Solo 401k. I will repeat, Roth Solo 401k. Here's what you can do.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Level Up podcast, where I bring you incredible guests, new information and old information, and inspire you to invest and take control of your future and your life. My mission, as I haven't actually stated on here before, is to help people improve their relationship with themselves, with money, and with God, and I think that's a very important thing, but not in those order. And I am excited to have an incredible guest today. Amanda Holbrook. She's someone I've known for a while now, and she's someone who you guys, I for years heard about trust and self-directed IRAs and all of these cool things. I heard about retirement accounts, but of course I started real estate at 21, and I'm going, all right, this is cool, but it's kind of really freaking boring. And so I, by the way, I love your laugh. It's contagious. So I thought they were so boring, and it was tough for me to just sit down and take in the information. And I would geek out on stuff, but man, it was tough to geek out on. And so Amanda has been someone who took what I enjoyed learning, but was boring to learn, and has made it much easier to understand for this country boy's brain. And I appreciate you for that, Amanda. I think you guys are going to get a lot of value today, both people in our community who have never had a self-directed IRA or not as familiar with their retirement accounts love coming to Amanda because she gives just incredibly simplified information of how it works. And then people in our community who have self-directed IRAs commonly talk to Amanda and go, oh my gosh, I've had it for a decade and didn't even know I could do this. And so she's brilliant at this and breaks it down where her 13-year-old kid actually does this stuff, and Amanda does too. So she's with Specialized Trust Company. We're going to dive in today. We're going to talk about retirement accounts and all of the boring stuff, but make it fun. All right, so get ready to take lots of notes, and welcome, Amanda Holbrook. How are you, my friend?
Thank you. That was such a nice, warm introduction. I'll do a round of applause. I appreciate you bringing us on, and I love, just the conversational, educational format. Life's too short, make it fun, right? It's just like, hey, we're gonna learn about taxes. But no, I appreciate that. Your community and your mission. I can't believe you haven't shared your mission on here before. It's such a good one.
Thank you.
Great. It's great. It's heartfelt. And you've developed a community that just helps everybody help everybody else, very much a family. So very blessed to be a part of the group, a part of the in crowd, and, really help you guys get some nuggets here on how to, unlock your own retirement and just, be comfortable with taking control of it. I think that's the first part, is that mindset shift. But we're going to make it fun. We're going to make it simple. Yes, my 13-year-old does self-direct. I've been with Specialized Trust Company for almost since inception for about a decade now, but I've been in this industry over 15 years. I'm not going to put an exact number on that. We're not going to do that.
You look amazing.
I'm just joking. My girls appreciate me. Those 11s become real in your 40s. You wouldn't know anything about that. But
not yet. That's awesome. Well, you said something before we started recording, Amanda, and you talked about, that so many people look at retirement as like, don't touch it, right? And you just take it and say, hey, not only do we take the retirement and control it and multiply it, whether you listening to this are on the private lender side of things, wanting to borrow from private lenders and help them self-direct, or all sorts of other strategies that you use to multiply your wealth. But let's dive in. Amanda, I have a question for you before we get to the meat and potatoes. Sure. You mind to share with everybody, like, who is Amanda outside of Specialized Trust Company? Tell me, family, what part of the country you live in. I know you're in Ohio, but like, just share with everybody kind of who you are and why this stuff excites you so much.
Absolutely. Well, I'm definitely a work hard, play hard kind of gal. So I'm a wife, and, so I've been married to my husband. I married my high school sweetheart, and I know some people look at me like I have 3 eyeballs when I say that. but we've been together forever. We have two beautiful children. So my daughter Aubrey is 13, and she can fully explain a Roth IRA for you and how you use it for self-directing and private lending. And I have a 9-year-old squirrel, a boy, who keeps me on my toes. But yeah, outside of work, when I say work hard, play hard, we just have a very wanderlust for life, and I love and I'm very passionate about all of this because, I drink my own Kool-Aid, and I know there's a lot of folks out there in this arena, guys, that, my term is, there's a lot of gurus versus your doers out there. And I like to say, we're a guru, right? We practice what we preach. So love to travel. Yes, I am Cleveland, Ohio. I live on the North Shore. Like that. You're like, yeah, that's not a thing. But yeah, love getting out, on the boat, on the water, fishing, anything outdoorsy. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I'm totally an introvert. Not, but no, I thrive off of connection and just helping other people get what they want, right? And when so many others have put obstacles or false barriers in front, one of the passions is just seeing someone overcome that. Even you do it every time that you self-direct, because we're conditioned, kind of going back to what you were saying, of you start these retirement accounts, right? Go to school, get a job, throw money in this thing called a 401k, buy, hold, hope, and pray it's there at the end of the day, and that's retirement. Like, that's what our parents were taught, and that's what was taught to us. And you listen to financial advisors and professionals, et cetera, of how to get there, but it's like we're conditioned like it's a hot potato. Don't touch it. It's retirement. Don't touch it. Okay, so let's just kind of park that over there right now. Yep. Everyone listening here is in real estate, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Or you're looking into it, right? You're interested, right? The real estate bug is in your ear, whether it came 100%. From, sleepless nights worrying about your financials, watching HGTV reruns, or, you've realized like, hey, my first house became a rental property and that mailbox check is nice. Whatever your journey was that brought you to the different way, you're here today. Real estate is one of the 3 basic needs of every single human being on the planet. It is tangible. It is insured. They're not making more land out there unless you live on an active island with a volcano, but they're not making more of it, right? So it's always going to be a valued asset. Now think of that in your retirement. We're talking real estate rentals. That's a predictable, consistent amount coming in month after month, right? That's the definition. That's retirement. Like, that's what you want. You want X amount of money coming in month after month to cover your needs and your wants number, so you can live the life that you love with your family. Real estate does a great job of doing that. Now, go back to retirement accounts. What's everybody got their money in? Stock market, right? Do you control the stock market?
I don't.
I don't either. Does anybody listening control the stock market?
I doubt it.
No, they don't. But that's where I was going. It's everyone is conditioned to just put your money there, buy, hold, hope, and pray. And then you're told you cannot touch it with a 10-foot pole, and you can. So if you've got money going yo-yo in the stock market, and there's good years, there's bad years. I'm not against the market, but there's no control, right? There's no guarantee, right? And in real estate, there's risk too. But if you can, instead of buy, hold, hoping, and praying you're going to have enough money to survive every month for retirement, if you can flip that script and move your funds and invest in things that you can control, touch, and do a dance on, and that cash flow every month, does that make sense?
Big time.
Like apples, oranges. Why don't so you've done a phenomenal job of working with real estate investors, and I hear this all the time, but even coming from the education side of things, like when they're just getting started, what is like the number one thing that your average follower, student, person in your community comes to you with? Like, what is their big why, or what is their big motivator, their big pain point?
Well, so 2 notes on that. First off, all of us, everybody listening to this, almost indefinitely, because people that we attract have this heart to help others. So that's kind of the underlying of like, I want to help other people, right? Well, what do you need to help more other people? More money. And so in doing that, we have both sides of the coin and more, but we have people who come to us going, hey, I've got retirement accounts. Either I know I can lend it, but I want somebody who picks up the phone when I call them to help me structure this right, which is why we're having this chat. And that's the first kind of people that come to us. The other kind of people who come to us are going, hey, like I was when I started. I am looking to borrow private money, or I'm looking to connect with other people. I'm looking to partner with other people who want to use their retirement accounts. And so that's why, and, I talk about tools in your tool belt. And with our community, one of the tools in your tool belt is wholesaling, right? One of my lesser favorite tools because it's a hustle, but it's a tool. I like the Roth Solo method, buy, own, or finance, sell, and lease option, because it's a tool that starts to build legacy wealth. And that's what this resource, this connection, for those of you listening, is going to be for you today. And so when a lot of people come to us either wanting to self-direct money they have or wanting to borrow, I want to start with the people who are looking to self-direct the money they have, if you don't mind, at Specialized Trust. Like, I know the answer to this, but I want them to hear it from you. What makes Amanda and Specialized Trust different than all the other companies out there who are preaching self-directed retirement accounts, et cetera?
Absolutely. So the big difference, and I always jokingly say this, is, well, when you call, a live person will answer.
Which is true, by the way.
It's true. We're very big on communication. If anything, we get accused of over communicating. That's a good thing in today's world. But no, the big differentiator with our firm is we take a vested interest in you to make sure that you are properly educated, that you know the right type of accounts and the how to do it, right? The I don't want to say excuse, but one of the pitfalls that you hear from someone that may have self-directed and they're like, I don't know what I don't know. And that's true. Like, as a passive custodian, like you and I have talked about this before, like, we don't sell investments. Okay, we are education only. You want to talk compliance and all that boring stuff you were talking? Yes, I can talk that talk too. But we're not gonna do that today. The whole point is that you've got the right butt in the right seat on your team, right? It's like your Avenger squad, right? When you think of building your nest egg, your Avenger squad, so you have an Andrew, you have a good CPA, you have an us. That is not only just going to open your account, service it, make sure it's all compliant, but we're also going to educate on the how. Hey, you're a person in a business. Did you do this? Oh, you're running into a champagne tax problem. Have you looked at this? And we can option out, 1, 2, 3. Here's roads 1, 2, 3. You can say love option 1, option 2, and 3. And that's okay. Because in a self-directed account, you're the boss, right? You call the shots. And I want you to get into that mindset. When you're talking retirement accounts, you are the boss of your own money.
And I want you to share a little bit, what's a couple of the misconceptions that people, again, back to people who have active retirement accounts that maybe is growing and they are enjoying, but they're saying, gosh, I want to either A, direct it myself, or I've been directing it, but I'm not fully satisfied with where I am. What's some of the most common misconceptions that are happening in that world today that you solve? Can you explain the thought process behind that? Because every time I talk to you, I've been studying this stuff for years, and every time I talk to you, you drop a nugget that's oh, that's a very good way to think about that. And what is that? 3 or 4 things right now for those who are sitting there with their pen and pad ready to write some notes. What's those misconceptions and how do we solve?
Okay, misconception number 1. I have an account at a large big bank, and I'm not going to drop any names as this is recorded, but they log in their account. It says self-directed on the screen. Okay, but you're picking stocks, bonds, mutual funds yourself. And you think, oh, that's control. That is not a true self-directed account. True self-directed account is what we do here at Specialized. So yes, you can do the stock market, of course. You're not taking any off the table. The little analogy I use all the time, it's not that little sandbox of toys that you just get to play with that. You get the whole playground. So whether you want to do private lending, rental properties, flips, land, you can do that inside your retirement account. So that's number 1. Okay. Number two, okay, your financial advisors that are at those institutions, when you say, I'm going to move this account and I am going to buy a rental property, do you think they're going to be your biggest cheerleader?
Likely not.
Likely not. Why?
Well, they probably don't want you moving the account first place.
Yeah. Well, are they losing
Correct.
money? Yes. You have to remember that is, that's commission based is how they get paid. Now there are independent advisors that do non-traditional and traditional assets, and I work very seamlessly with them. So I will say number two. Number three, okay, I've been told I make too much money to have a Roth IRA. That is not true, guys. Since 2010, anyone can have a Roth IRA. It's called a backdoor Roth. And now they've changed all of the business accounts. So even SEP Simples and Solo Ks all have a huge Roth component to it. So you can do the mega backdoor Roth. And that is a cool conversion strategy. I'm not going to get into all of that. But that is something we educate on a ton because our taxes going up or down, Andrew?
Up.
Up, right? There is a reason you're seeing all this legislation change to Roth. Like if you're making over 150 a year and you are over 50, that catch up now mandatorily has to go into a Roth component. So if you think, I want you to know, that is where it's shifting. Why? Because you pay the tax on the seed and not the crop. It grows tax free forever. Okay? When you hand it to your kids, it's tax free forever. Okay, so Roth. I can't say that word enough. One of the best in the English language. Number four is any old retirement account. Okay, old 401k, IRA, so old employer plan. And it doesn't have to be a 401k, guys. So I have a lot of folks that have retired from the military or they were active at a younger age. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you. You have something called a TSP. You can roll that into a self-directed retirement account. Same thing with my first responders, your 457Bs. You can move those. Those are state plans. TRS, OPERS accounts. These are all accounts when you're no longer active. You can roll those into self-directed accounts. So you can take control. In the show notes here, or I'll give resources later that give you a screenshot list of what those are. But you can always move around your retirement account. Now, here's a caveat. And you've run into this, I think, too, Andrew. I know your community has. I have an active 401k, Amanda. Can I move it? It's my current employer. Okay, so if it's your current employer, guys.
That's a big one, by the way.
It is. So I'm going to give you a couple nuggets here. Okay, so qualifying events are you don't work there anymore or you're 59 and a half. And we like to say 21 all over again. Ta-da. There's a reason for that. But if one of those two criterias are correct, you can move that plan. Now, what if you're not? There is a term, and write this down. It is called an in-service rollover. Okay? And you call your current custodian that holds the name on your statement. You call them and you ask them, does our plan allow for an in-service rollover? No more words. Zip it. Okay? Don't say, I want to go do
It's a write or downer.
Yeah, it's a write or downer, okay? And if they say no right away, ask to see it in writing, trust but verify, right? Due diligence. But majority of plans, you guys, will allow you to roll either all or a percentage of your vested balance over to a self-directed account. If you have employee-only funds in there, they'll let you roll those over 9 times out of 10. If you took an old employer's plan and rolled it into your current one, you can move those out anytime. So I'm part of this conversation, what I want the listeners to get, take away from this is know where your funds are and when you can access them and how. Even if you don't have a plan for them yet, you should always know how to tap into your different lines of capital to build your wealth. And that includes retirement, of course.
So a couple questions on that, questions that I get for maybe people who are newer out there. When should they do Roth versus traditional? What's the difference? And when and how do they know?
Sure. So here's an easy one. If you're paying taxes, do a traditional because you need to reduce your taxes. Okay. If you've gotten a creative enough where you're not paying taxes, put money in the Roth. Okay. That's an easy one. Um, the one I get a lot, when should I start a Roth?
Yes.
As soon as you walk. Like, kids should have Roth IRAs, you guys. I mean, they're starting a Roth IRA for babies born this year for a reason. Okay, actually. So it's as soon as you can have a Roth IRA. And for those of you that are brand new and just starting, I'm going to give you 2 nuggets. Okay. So pay yourself first. Okay. If you've got money sitting in a savings account, what's it earning? Not much, right? Not earning much. When you put money in a Roth IRA, okay, remember that's paying the tax on the seed, not the crop. It's growing tax free, so it's after tax money. That's the same thing you have in your savings account, right? Why do you have a savings account? In case you have that moment, right? My car broke down, or I, lost my job, whatever that is. Money you put in a Roth IRA, you can take out anytime, tax-free, penalty-free. It's just the earnings that have to stay. So, do you see what I just did there, Andrew?
I do.
I took all of your excuses.
I like that. I speaking of excuses, I wanna ask this because I know something that I used to do starting out was I would worried because I didn't understand enough. Like, what if I accidentally break one of the rules? What if something goes? Number one, that's why I always preach: hire others to do what they do best and do what we do best. Let us go buy real estate. Let Amanda tell us how to do this retirement account thing, right? When it comes though to doing that, what's the most common rules you see people accidentally break that could screw up the future of the retirement accounts?
Sure. And this is number one. I mean, like when you asked earlier, what's the big differentiator of having like a specialized trust versus one of those, what I call DIY companies, where they say, here's your self-directed account. Good luck, Chuck. Like, you're on your own. Like, you'll never talk to another living soul. What you're talking about are prohibited transactions is exactly why. So before you make that misstep. Right? We want to learn from other people's mistakes. I will say number one, and we always catch it ahead of time. Knock on wood, I'll say we always catch it ahead of time. But folks want to self-deal. And what I mean by that is they want to figure out a way so they can take their tomorrow money and make today money off of it, right? They want to lend it to themselves, okay? And what I mean by this is called self-dealing, guys. So if you're doing anything with a retirement account when you benefit today and not in retirement, Uncle Sam doesn't let you do that. No, 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 no. Shame, shame, shame. Okay, but let me give you another nugget, okay? My favorite tool in the self-directed world is called a Roth Solo 401k. I will repeat, Roth Solo 401k, okay? So that's a business plan versus a personal. Here's what you can do, and this goes for my newbies too. Especially if you've left W-2 world, you burn the boats, and now you're in real estate full force. You can take that old plan, roll it over to a 401k. There's one feature a 401k has, so it's a business plan, that an IRA does not: the ability to borrow against it. Now, this is a DOL rule, and I know I'm getting a little...
I'm glad you're bringing this up because this was going to be my next question.
Awesome. God, see, I'm in your head.
I know you are. I love it.
Okay. So you can borrow against it 50% or 50,000. That's a DOL rule. All right. So that's the limit. If you got 100K in there, you can borrow 50. If you got 500K in there, you can still only borrow 50. Okay. But when you're a real estate investor, you are keeping a list of the cheapest capital to the most expensive. Here's why I say this is number one slot. You're borrowing against yourself. You repay the 401k. You heard me. The 401k, the principal and the interest. So you're paying yourself back. It's like forced savings. Now here's the fun part. Now you got 50 grand in an account. What do you do with it? And this is where I put on more of a Robert Kiyosaki hat versus like a Dave Ramsey hat. Okay? I want you to go make some money with it. Get education with it. Invest in yourself. So, depending on where you're at in your journey, that might be towards marketing, that might be towards education, that might be towards a down payment on a rental property. It might be arbitraging for private lending. If you're paying yourself back 8%, but you're lending it out at 15, okay, 7% goes to your pocket, the rest goes to the retirement account. So this is the only tool, and you guys, I want you to appreciate this because I live in delayed gratification world. Do you know the world we live in? Instant gratification world. So I'm always talking about tomorrow money. This is the only way you can make today dollars, profits in your pocket from a retirement account that is your own. Okay. We'll get to other people's retirement accounts in a second because that's your next step. But that's always usually the first one. How can I have my money work for me today? That 401k loan, zinger.
So before, as we're going down this journey, I love every time we talk because you get me thinking about things like you said when you talk about instant gratification versus later. It's a beautiful thing when you know what the rich know and do what the rich do. And then we get a similar result, right? I talk about that all the time. When it comes to helping other people, and I want everybody listening to this, whether you're brand new to real estate, whether you're experienced and you've done 100+ deals as some of our crew has, or somewhere in between, what's 4 or 5 of the ways that people should be thinking about, oh my gosh, if I added Amanda to my team, don't even have to put you on payroll. I had Amanda to my team. I reach out to her, and I can not only have her help me with my trust, but with other people. What's some other ways people should be thinking about just sparking light bulbs in this last segment of the podcast?
Absolutely. Sharing is caring, right? We started off with you don't know what you don't know. Knowledge is power. And I know I sound like Dr. Seuss right now, but the point is you guys know about this stuff. Taking the tools of the rich and applying them, to your own. So what I mean by that is, you are the steward, the message. Hey, did you know? From this podcast, now you can take your old retirement accounts and you can be the bank. You can be a private money lender. So when you bring that to somebody else, they might be like, how's that work? And then you're like deer in headlights. I don't know. So that's where it's who, not how, right? To your point, Andrew. We are your team. We're that member on the Avenger squad.
Yeah.
Shoot an email introduction over. Give us a call. Shoot a text. We will hop on a call or a conference call or a Zoom to educate your circle, your tribe on how, they can be the bank for your next deal. They can take their old 401k and lend it to you, your company, have it recorded against a real tangible property, just like a bank does. And then the interest, points, whatever else is in the deal goes right back to their retirement account. Holy diversification, but you don't know what you don't know. And if you're telling others about your business and what you're doing and how you're growing and your mission and your passion for your family, this is part of it, guys. This is, you don't go on, you're not a one-man army. The more you tell other people, they're going to want to work with you. You are the superhero in the story. We are the tool. We are the member of your team. And have you guys read Who, Not How?
Yes, I have.
I
love that book.
That's a pivotal book. Okay. And there's no affiliates or anything like that here, guys, but it's a pivotal book. To get there quicker, you have to know the who, and we play that part as far as the education on, what you can do. So the ways self-directed retirement accounts can play a part in your business is OPM, right? Other people's money. We say OPI all the time, other people's IRAs. And if I was a cheerleader, I would, do that. But despite my peppiness, Andrew, I was not. But
I love it. I love your energy, by the way. If I'm having a low day, most of the time you talk to somebody about investment accounts and you're having a low day, it just fries your brain further. Not Amanda, she's gonna add energy to your day talking about the most boring topics, but make them energetic. So thank you for that. Well, I'm sure, because I know we've talked several times. You've been at 1 or 2 of our events and shared incredible information. You've been on some of our calls with our community, and I'm so grateful you joined us on this podcast. So I have two more questions. The first one is, what other questions should have I asked you that you're it's burning on your heart? You just know everybody listening needs to know this thing right now. What's that question I should have asked you before I ask my final question?
Okay. So the big ask is, okay, once you've made it, right, in real estate, okay, the silent partner in all of your deals is who?
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam, right? So how do we keep more of
Unless you
what
don't
we
pay him,
make?
then he's not silent. We
Yeah,
love
I
the
know, right?
IRS. I love the
Say they're
IRS.
gonna come
I love the
pounding at your
government.
door, letters on letters, calls, right? Give me my money. Okay, so how do you keep more of what you're making? And this is huge because tax deadlines are coming up, guys. If you're an S corp, you got a couple weeks, or file your extensions. But you can still do, again, solo 401k, SEP IRA. Instead of just 7,500 to 8,600, that's what you can put into IRAs. Those are personal accounts, guys. The ones I'm referring to, you can do up to 72,000 or 80,000 a year. Okay, so those are the vehicles. When you hear about it's not about what you make, it's what you keep. Those are the vehicles that you should have underneath your business. I've heard so many times, "Oh, I'm self-employed. I never had a 401k." Start one. If you have $1,000, you can start a self-directed retirement account. Okay, so it's not like you have to have funds to roll into it to start. But that is going to allow you to keep what you make. So when your CPA looks at you and your gut is turning and they're like, "Here's your big bill," you can say, I have a solo 401k under my business and I can contribute 25% of my net. Cha-ching. Would you rather pay yourself or Uncle Sam?
Definitely
Yourself.
myself.
Yeah, all day long. So I would
So,
say
so I think
that was the one.
and thank you for that. And that's my
Sure.
perfect segue into my last question because I know we barely scratched the surface today in this half hour together. What's the best way if you would be so kind as to allow, before this, you said you would let anyone who wanted to book a free consultation.
Absolutely.
How do they reach out to you? How do they book this free consultation? How do they connect with you? Or if they just want insights and go, "Oh my gosh, I want to understand what the heck I'm missing."
Absolutely. So I will definitely be putting a link to my calendar. Use Try and Trade Calendly right in the show notes. But
Heck yeah.
you can. I'll give you my personal info. A Holbrook HOLBROOK at IRASTC Sam Tango Charlie.com. Okay. And 505-514-0587. It's my direct dial. So
Perfect. John, let's add those as well to the show notes along with our booking calendar. Incredible. Thank you so much for this, Amanda. This has been incredible. I'm excited to hang out together in person again soon. And when someone reaches out to you, what should they expect? What's some of the homework they should do before they connect with you to get the questions together? Because, man, I know you have 15 plus years of information to share on that call. And I know, like myself, when I talk to someone, it's going, okay, how can I best serve this person's growth right now? So what's the best information they can give you when they reach out?
absolutely. So find your most recent statements from those retirement accounts. I can't tell you how many times they're like, "I had an old 401k, I just don't remember where it's at." And if that's you, don't be embarrassed. Like, I hear it all the time. So find your old retirement account statements. Jot down your entity structure, and most know that off of the cuff. So, and then anything you have, like for your family, your kids, types of health insurance that you carry, those are all things that we'll cover on that first call. I promise I won't give you the fire hose and dump 15 years of knowledge on you at one time. I promise. We chunk it down, not all chapters in one sitting. But that will definitely give us, because every conversation, and you've seen this, we've done this at events, I do this day and day, it's different. Each of you have a different puzzle. Okay, so that's the call. It's just to figure out what your puzzle is and what we can plug and play where. And if you say, "Hey, now's the time," great. If you can tell me your name, address, and a statement and ID, you can get a retirement account set up. So that part of it, it's easy. I know most people think paperwork. It's all electronic. It's easy. Like, don't, contracts are more lengthy than, getting an IRA set up. So,
Absolutely.
right. PSA over.
Well, this is powerful information. And Amanda, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate how you serve our community as well. And the conversations we get to have from time to time. And I'm glad we got to hang out on this podcast today. If you guys got information from that, take Amanda up and connect with her. Get some more information from her. And I'll see you on the next Real Estate Level Up podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrew.
Bye for now.